now? Yeah. Uh, so welcome everybody to this Facebook Live, and I'm with Sundari Venkataraman ma'am. I'm very thankful to her for accepting my invite and coming here to share her story and the journey of becoming the best seller on Amazon. So I will first, if you allow me, ma'am, I will quickly read something about you. Uh, yeah. So what I learned and that after leading a pretty regular life, completing a college degree, getting married, and working 9 to 5 job, you took an interesting turn at the age of 53. Inspired by the likes of Mark Twain, you debuted as an author in your later years, setting aside the orthodox norms of age-appropriate behavior. And you self-published your first romantic novel, The Malhotra Bride, on Kindle Direct Publishing. So welcome to this group, ma'am. We have been really honored to have you with us. Would you like me to begin directly asking questions, or how would you prefer?
I'll just say hello. Thank you very much for your nice introduction. And hello, everybody. Nice being here.
Yeah. So I'm really, excited to start asking a lot of questions that I have for you from my side, as well as from people from the group. So the first question is, this is from my side, that, at this point, at age of 53, when you took that turn, did it feel something like, a fear? Did you feel scared of putting yourself out? Because most of the authors, I'm an author myself, and there are so many women within the group who really are scared, from the judgment of the people, how they would talk about themselves. So were you scared? And if you were, then how did you overcome that?
See, I published at 53, but I started writing when I was 40, a little before 40. So I had run the gamut of publishers and publishing rejections and all that. So whatever nervousness I had was way before that first publishing happened. So I had my first testing ground was my family, my sisters and my parents and my few relatives. Like they had read my book, The Malhotra Bride, and they really encouraged me to go ahead with it. I had a critic look into the book, but it took me 6 months to actually give my book to give a printed copy to anybody to have a look, because I was, as you say, very nervous, and I was thinking like, it's okay, I'll write for myself. Then you feel this need that you want people to read and tell you what they think about it, and that's when you slowly start taking baby steps. And in the meanwhile, with the rejections and all that, now I had crossed almost 14 years before I published my book. So by then, like, it was like, yes, I want it out there. Before that, in between, I had even blogged my stories, the same stories which I had written. I had 3 ready novels by then, and each one I had published as a series on my blog. So I used to get very less feedback, but there were people reading it. And so by the time I got published, no, I just wanted it out there. My nervousness was all gone by then. But yes, nervous happen, but it's like walking through fire.
Yeah.
And see, somewhere you should understand, everybody has an audience. If you have a fairly good story to say, and you can't expect everybody to fall in love with your book. It's not possible. If some people like it, some people trash it. It's part of the game.
Yeah, that's really true. That we have to actually learn in this journey of being with the readers or people who like it, and then let go of the people who don't. That because there will be
See,
both sides.
I use a very simple this thing to understand this. Like when we read books, we don't love all of us, right? We like some authors. We really don't like some authors. We really hate some authors. So it's the same when somebody reads your book, right? Everybody has a right to an opinion. It's like some people like bananas, some don't like. It's as simple as, so you take it in your stride, as long as you believe in yourself.
Yeah. I'm recently seeing a culture that is developing, especially in our country, that, people, when they hate, they really hate aggressively. Uh,
It's always
so,
been there. You're noticing it because you started writing. As
yeah.
simple.
Yeah, yeah. So, no, what I feel that with social media being so, now you can read
It
it.
comes
Now
to
that,
the fore. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the fore. Mm.
So, does that sometimes bother you? Does that impact you?
In the beginning, yes, it bothered me a lot. Like when I got those 5 star, 1 star instead of the 5 star which I'm expecting. Like even the 4 and 3, I used to think, oh, but then at least that was something. When I got till I got the 1 star, oh my god, how can they do this? And how can I feel hurt? And then you feel like, how can they think like that? It's such a beautiful story and all that. But then it's a matter of perception. As you keep
Hmm.
writing, you keep seeing like some people like it, some don't like it. Some what they do is like, uh, see, you get after your 40th novel, you get a new reader. They go back and read your second book and they say, I expected so much more from the author. This is like, it's really funny how they have expectations, because I don't want to be labeled as, this is what my writing is.
Hmm.
I, of course, you tend to grow over a period. You tend to tell different kinds of stories. Some stories might strike a chord, some might not. But as long as they don't criticize the content, they just say that they don't like it, it's perfectly fine. When they criticize, that irritates me a bit. But then again, everybody is entitled to their opinion. And yeah, when I got my Pehla first for 1 star, I was very hurt. But by then I was already writing my fifth or sixth novel. So it didn't really matter.
Yeah, yeah, true. Okay.
Just keep
Uh,
writing if you believe in it. That's what it is.
Absolutely. I think that is more important to have a belief in oneself and in one's writing. Um, this also brings another question to my mind when I was going through your profile, that you said that you are untrained in the art of writing, right? Uh, Talk about it. I really want to know about this. That how you consider yourself being untrained into writing, and then so many bestsellers, and also that you have overcome people's judgment and everything.
See, there's something called inspiration and there's something called training. Like if you look at an artist, yeah, there is a school for art. People go, they learn some basics, but at the end of it, they arrive at their own style, right? Not they don't become clones. As for writing, I used to read a lot, and my writing came with personal practice. That's what you can say. It's like staying at home and schooling yourself. You're doing,
Hmm.
like I wrote a lot. I have blogged voraciously. If you see my blog, you'll find, I think, at least 1,000 articles, maybe more than that. I used to write a lot, and I have had a bit of experience with the media, so that I can prove, uh, I can make it exactly like error free. Those things help. Reading a lot helps. Like when you observe, really, like instead of just running through the books, when you observe the stories as they flow, how the conversation flows, and how the description is given, and how it's interchanged. And if I watch a lot of movies, when you generally until somebody mentioned this, now I've never noticed. Always, when you watch a movie, most of the time what they do now, very intense emotional scene is followed by a comic sequence. It's kind of to lighten the atmosphere, to bring the viewer down to they are somewhere lost in the plot, to bring them down to earth and then to continue the story further. These choto things, you keep visualizing and you keep understanding, you keep observing. Then what happens, you hone your skills, you keep reading back to your books. And that's how I learned writing. I taught myself or whatever. The stories, like they wanted to be told. Like I never thought I was going to be a writer. It just suddenly popped into my head and it wanted to be written. As simple as that. And the Malhotra Bite, what I wrote then, I have made a few minor changes. what it is today. Today is even a paperback. Like here, um, Fingerprint Publishers, no, they came up with the paperback. I still hold my this thing, ebook rights, and
Yeah.
the story is still the same.
Okay. Yeah.
And so the only thing is, with practice writing, keep writing.
Yeah. I think that's also
Reading.
very important.
And reading is really, really important.
Yeah, this was one question which is on top of my list of asking you. How do you take out time to reading? Because just it was in the group only that we were having a discussion that what is the reading pattern, and there are some women in the group who are not finding the time to read also. So how do you manage the time of reading and writing? You follow a discipline or you go with the flow?
I go with the flow. I will say this one example I will give was last year when we had this lockdown, when my cook was not there, my servant was not there, and we had to manage everything. The first month, only kitchen house cleaning was happening.
Yeah.
Everything else went for a toss. I managed to market a little bit because marketing takes a lot of time on social media.
Yeah.
I would say my marketing takes more time than my writing. That's the because at the end of the day, that many books I have to market and that many platforms are there. So I believe in marketing every day. Like, I don't let people forget me. And so only a little bit of marketing was happening. Then the second month, what happened? I started doing a bit of writing. In all this, the only relaxation I got was my reading. It's not that I don't know. See, the reading challenges, everything people do, they have different ways of, encouraging themselves to read. But for me, it's a passion. And for a passion, you need a challenge. And I'm the kind of person, I don't want to follow rules. I would rather follow my own. That way, actually, self-publishing has worked out the best for me because I'm not a person who follows rules. So what makes me happy is now I read whenever I want to. I drop everything and just read. And every day it makes me happy to read. So the last thing I do in the night is read. 20 pages could be, 50 pages could be. I stay awake if I have sometimes it keeps me awake till 2 or 3 in the morning. And then one fine day, what I do, I drop everything, no writing. I don't open my computer. I just want to read that day. That happens, Kabhi. I don't know how many books I read. For all you know, I must have read some 10 to 12,000 books in my lifetime or more. I have no clue actually. I don't keep a count like that or anything. I have read a lot. It more than how much I have read or how much I plan to read. I read every day. That's the only thing I can say.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
like
even though you
always,
say
when you feel very passionately about something, you'll make time for it, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. I totally agree with you. Whatever you are passionate about, you do take out time. That's how I've been working, that I'm so passionate about my coaching and writing as well that somehow I tend to create time. Uh, Nonetheless, yes, there are women who face this challenge of, handling home, kids, and everything. And I think they need to really strengthen that passion within them. They have to really.
one thing I will say. Like, see, when my children were born, till each one, like my daughter was born, 4 years later, my son was born. 3 years till my daughter was 3 years old. Now, I didn't read a book. A person who has been reading every day, even full books in a day. I just didn't stop reading those 3 years. And then when my son was born, I did the same thing. In the sense, it was not like, till 3 years, I will not read or anything like that. Till I felt they needed me, till they started going to the play school. No? I will give my full attention to them. Luckily, I was lucky. My husband was the sole breadwinner. I didn't have to, I didn't have to go to work. So I was only a housewife at that point and taking care of my children. So it worked out. That is the only point, 3 plus 3 years, 6 years, I never read any book. Otherwise, I read. Yeah, when something else really needs your attention, it's better to give it now because that time will not come back again. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see my 2-year-old daughter or son again, right?
yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Another really interesting and curious question I'm really curious to know is that you are on your, I think it's a self-decided challenge of 60 books by you turn 60. So where
Yes,
have
I'm
you
generally
been?
planning this year. September 30th, I'll turn 60. I don't think I can finish it before September. Rebel Princess, which came out just now, that is book number 53. So 7 more books to go. This is my daughter put it across to me. I thought, why not? Let's see.
Yeah. So
If it
where are
works, it
you?
works.
At what point are you?
I'm writing my book number 54
Mm-hmm.
and the next 4 or 5 books. I mean, I have vague ideas for the next 16, 17 books always, but I have intensely planned the next 4 or 5 books. Let's see
Mm-hmm.
if it happens. Well and good.
Yeah. Because you've broken a lot of records also. 35 books in 35 days. You did that as
No, no,
well.
no, no. 13 books in 13 months.
13 books in 13 months.
I didn't
Yeah.
break any record because I don't know if anybody is on that record or not. I just wanted to write every month one book, at least for a year. It went
Mm-hmm.
13th month. It just happened that way.
Yeah. Does it motivate you, having such plans for yourself or setting self challenges for yourself?
Self challenge is the only thing which works for me. And I
Uh,
realize, when you are writing, when you write every day, the flow of the story comes out really smoothly, comes out really fast, and you kind of keep moving forward. But when I don't write for 10 days, then picking up becomes difficult. Like this, when I wrote it, it took me a long time to complete the novel, and I was kind of stepping out from the historical times to the contemporary times. I found it really difficult. I saw,
mm,
I was fully into what do you call researching for the book, getting matter together, getting the names together, the places together, visualizing the scenes like a movie, or just intensely following that for about 50 days continuously. And then, you're still into it when you're proofing it and you're formatting and publishing and completely into that. Then, getting back into a contemporary 2018 scenario, it was it was not easy. It took me 10, 12 days. Now I'm back again. I'm writing every day. Yeah.
okay. You said that you already have, lot of books in your mind, but you work on 4 or 5 at a given point of time. How do you go about it? Is it the plot that comes to you first, or it's the characters that
The
appear?
characters come. The characters, see, you might find that many of my books are interconnected. There are series. That's one
Yeah.
part. You definitely have like 3 siblings, like 3 friends, whatever. The series are there. Besides that, this one, you see, a book is not just about the hero and heroine. There will be other people, right? There might be a cousin, or there might be somebody else, or there might be a very young brother or somebody in the family. Those kind of characters, they want their stories told. They literally pop into my head. They wake me up in the middle of the night. They kind of act out their parts in my head, and so their story wants to be told. Now I try to fit them into different molds. Like I'm writing this series called The Written in the Stars, where a combination of 2 star signs, like the um, most suited star sign. I follow Linda Goodman's the same, and I kind of try to frame a story around that. 3 books are out: Scorpio Superstar, and Leo's Desire, and Taurus Temptation. So all these 3 are the men's star sign, and they have a female counterpart there. So the next 3 books will be, the titles will be on the women's. So next is Virgo heroine. So Virgo's crush. That's going to be my 4th book. So I have planned like Libra's flame, and the next one is Sagittarius. I have not zeroed in on the title. So so the characters which I have written about in some other book, they pop in, and I kind of fit that story here. If it fits, fine. If it doesn't fit, I take somebody else. It works. It's fun playing God.
Yeah. You're making it sound fun and easy.
See, that's what I said. Now, when you have the passion, in
Yeah.
fact, most of the writers group, when they ask me, maybe some of them hate me. I tell them, if you don't have the inclination to write, don't write. Don't become a writer. Just because it's fashionable, or it's kind of the scene which is happening today, or there's a lot of glamour surrounding it. It's not, you see only what is shown in the front. It's a lot of hard.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. It's a lot of hard work. And that hard work comes easily when you said, no, it's easy. It comes easily when you feel passionate about it. I am writing because the stories refuse to let me sleep. They want to be told. Otherwise, I won't be a writer.
Yeah.
And that is when success, comes chasing you. So don't, if see, anybody tries to become an actor, it doesn't work. It is some only who are successful. It is not because unka naseeb acha hai, no, because it comes naturally to them. It is not easily is not the word I will say. It comes naturally. So till the age of 40, when I was trying to write those essays and compositions in schools and colleges, I used to hate myself. I hated that writing which I did. Then I realized, nobody asked me to do any creative writing. If they had done, maybe I would have done very well there in those. But in the schools I studied, in the college I studied, nobody thought of asking me to do creative writing. For me to discover that, I had to become 30 when I was 39 plus. It's okay.
Yeah.
Complaints. But yeah, so what comes naturally? Never force yourself to do anything. And I'm lucky, like nobody had to twist my arm to do anything. What I'm doing, what comes naturally.
Yeah, yeah. And that becomes the fun part.
That's why it seems easy. Like, sitting about, see, the maximum written in a day is about 8,260 words. It's backbreaking work. Like, I sit in front of the computer, I'm just going on typing away, typing away, typing away. I suddenly see about 10 to 12 hours, which I very rarely work that long. Because I write about 1,500 to 2,000 words in a day. I try to write at least 6 days in a week. Right? Almost 8 times that size. It's not funny. And unless the story wants to be told, like for me, how it happens is, it's like watching a movie in my head, and I'm just typing out the scenes. It's as simple as that. But then the scenes come naturally. It's like how a painter, they take a brush, they see an empty canvas, and they fill it up. How do they do that? From their imagination. That's how it is.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe that is the reason that you are able to write a series of books, because when I was going through Amazon, most of your books are now in a series format. So there is always
I would say
like the
about
Princess
half.
series.
I have some 11 books which are standalones. The rest of them all, I think, they're in a series. This Princess series which I'm writing, no, they don't have any connected characters. It is just a connected series. Like the first one, The Passionate Princess, was about a North Indian West Indian princess set in 1480s. This, which I have written, is set in the Chola period in the 11th century. So there's no connection between the two stories. They're just connected in under the title of Princess series. Just that. I'm talking about princesses.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find having the series, like, now that most of the books are coming in the form of series, do you find that it's easier to market as well and connect with the reader?
Readers connect. You know why I read a lot of Western authors' romances. That's how, like, I'm a big fan of Mills and Boon. I used to read a lot in the 70s and 80s. Till 90s, I loved it. Uske baad, they were okay, but I still read on and off. But the books, those old books, 70s, 80s, 90s, they're fantastic. You find a lot of authors there who've gone on to become very big names. Like a Janet Daly or a Nora Roberts or a Penny Jordan. They all write series. And they don't even announce it's a series. You suddenly keep picking every book. Oh my God, this character, I remember reading. You start connecting. Then you go and search. Then you realize, oh my God, this is the brother of that person. Then what they do, once they complete the series, they again publish it as a box set or whatever. That's when you realize they're connected. Probably the author planned it that way, or it went unplanned, I don't know. Like, I also started writing. Then when you mention a sibling, then like this Madras Affair is my fourth book, which I published, the third novel. And that, lots of people have been asking. The hero has a twin. So what happened to him? So his story, can't we have something? I've been planning it for a very long time, hoping that will also be one of my books this year. So after, like, that book, I brought it out in 2015. So now after 6 years, I'll be bringing the twin story.
Yeah, yeah. This is
Yeah,
interesting,
definitely. Readers are able to connect as a fact. Like if they come third story, they go back and read the first and second also. And again, this written in the stars, no, they are not connected stories.
Hmm.
The characters are not connected, but they're connected by the theme. Marriage is Made in India is again a 6-book thing.
Yeah.
5 siblings and one character who's just a friend of one of the heroes. So all those stories are together in a set.
Yeah, yeah. This is quite interesting, like how you are able to visualize much before you write, and you're also getting inputs from your readers as well. They are asking you to pick up the characters and complete them into a story. This is
There are
amazing.
there is this lady who told me, can you please use my name as one of your heroines or at least a side character? I'd like to be featured in your book. I told her I will, but don't expect it immediately because the next few books are planned. I will definitely look into it. I've told her. She's excited and she's told me, ma'am, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it works.
Yeah. This is also making me, ask you how you take out so much of time, because even when we connected, you were instant, every time I have anything, you have instantly answered back, you are there, always there. And you're answering all your readers as well. You're writing, you're reading. How do you manage time?
It's very simple.
I know passion.
No, no, not passion. There is another thing. See, I have worked in a school. I worked in the school office. My nature, it's like, I don't push anything to the back burner. There is no backlog. If there is a backlog, no, it weighs on me. It creates stress, which is exactly what's happening in most of the offices.
Hmm.
If you want something, okay, I'll make a list, I'll do it tomorrow. No, I make a list and I finish it off. My nature is like, once everything is finished, I'm free. I can breathe easy. I don't get distracted. Yes, I love the phone. I play games on my phone. I into Instagram. I watch, like, hundreds of cat videos. I'll be sitting one, I suddenly realize, oh my god, why the time has gone. But today I have an agenda. I want to complete so many tasks. I finish it. I bash myself sometimes, like I didn't do all my work. But I always ensure that the priorities are completed, especially when you have commitments to others. See, I'm lucky in that I'm my own boss. So my writing, at the end of it, when you complete everything, it's your writing which gets a kick because it has to be left out because that is something you're doing for yourself. Marketing becomes a must, otherwise your sales go down. You see that. So everything takes priority, the writing gets a kick. So when your writing gets a kick, what does a passionate writer do? Finish everything and get back to writing. So you make sure that you complete everything is on time. That commitment, like, the backlog is like a bush. It creates stress. I learned that at a very young age, especially when I was bringing up my children. Like I was almost on my own. Like my parents-in-law were there, but they were too old to take care of children. So I realized, if I don't complete a task, then I'm going to land in a soup. Life teaches you. I've learned the lesson. That's what I will say.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how. And actually speaking, everything takes only a few minutes. But when you
Yeah.
keep postponing it, now the few minutes keep combining into many hours together, and suddenly it snowballs, and you realize, my God, I have too much, and then that tires you. You want to just lie down on your bed, put your comforter, and go back to sleep because you don't want to face the world. Whereas you keep completing tasks, feel a sense of achievement. It gives you a lot. Like, when I was writing this historical, I was having a difficult time finishing it. I was getting distracted. So my daily walk went for a task. 15 days, no, 3 weeks, I didn't go for a walk. I always go 4 to 5 kilometers. Imagine 3 weeks not going for a walk. I started feeling heavy, bloated. Restarting was so difficult that this time I promised myself, whatever happens, hell or high water, I'll go for more. Because what can you not live with? We need to do everything. We can't escape. There are only 24 hours in a day. Yeah, I sleep a lot. Huh? Don't think I don't sleep. That also helps. I sleep a lot. Because half the time, the characters, they're awakening me. So I need that many hours in my bed. 9 to 10 hours, believe me, I sleep.
Yeah, and do you wake up middle of the night and start writing when characters are
I don't
talking to
write.
you?
I have done this kind of thing before. Now I don't. I just kind of let it run in my mind. There is these two characters from Madras Affair. They didn't let me sleep one night. Sabhi, I used to write in pen and paper. I had to get up at 3:30 in the morning. I finished it about 5:30. I completed the chapter and went back to sleep. But thank God that is not happening nowadays. I allow them to just run. And if the scene comes into the head, now no sleep. Definitely for 2 3 hours, it's gone. But I won't get up from my bed. I compulsorily I have to rest. I'm getting old. I want that rest. I won't be able to work the next day. And I prefer not to sleep in the afternoon. Worst case scenario, I do, but I prefer not to sleep in the afternoon. So I need that.
Yeah, yeah. So knowing what your body needs and then working accordingly, but still following the passion. Yeah, amazing. And I find that so much challenging in people who turn 40. I am 40 plus now, and somewhere I started realizing that I'm getting old, and I had to shake myself. And then I get inspirations like you that who are working constantly, who are following the passion. That gives energy back to me. So how you get your energy? Who is your inspiration? What makes you keep going along with the passion? Of course, passion is an energy. It is, that is for sure. It is giving energy to you. What else along with it that you do to stay active and uh, uh, apart from sleep as well? So we remove sleep as well.
My first major inspiration, I would say, my grandfather. He lived till 96. He was a lawyer in Madras and Chennai later. And he was super enthusiastic about life. When the computer was first brought to home, what is this computer? I want to learn. At that time, he was 80 plus, almost 90. Nothing stopped him. And he was working 2 days before he died. He was hospitalized. In whole of 96 years, he was hospitalized for 16 hours. Only because, his chest congestion was not letting go. And the doctor wanted him in for observation. He told him, you please come and stay in the hospital for 1 day. Let me just observe. One night, हो गया था, सुबह उठ के बोला, nothing is wrong with me. Why are you stopping? I'll go home. He got out immediately. My sister was there. They both took a rickshaw and they went home. Because he said, he just, that enthusiasm for life. You just want, he was alive. That's what I can say. See, there is living, they're taking a breath. From him, what I realized, retirement is the biggest fad. It is one surefire way of killing people at a young age.
Yeah.
Because your mind's age and your physical age are two different things. And when you're acting like, for a simple one example, I will say that I've heard when I was in school or something, they say, a big bull, when it is a small calf, this guy used to lift it every day. One fine day, he was lifting it and it had become a full bull, but he's been doing it every day. He doesn't realize, the person who's been doing it every day, they don't realize that the weight is going on changing. Imagine holding up a fully grown bull. It is like that. You keep doing something which you're happy doing and you want to keep doing. The day your breath stops, you have to die. Nobody is going to escape. Why keep planning for it? Because once you retire, then what do you do? So that's why I feel, you should combine everything. Going on a holiday, you can't say like, I'll turn 60 and then I'll start going for a holiday. You suddenly feel you're totally fit. I can't climb buses. I can't climb cabs. I can't climb a train or even a flight. it becomes difficult. So what do you want to do today. Don't postpone it till let me do it after retirement, or let me cross so many millions and then I will do it. No, luckily my husband, he never thought I should save all the money. Like money, he was the only breadwinner, I told you. He never had this thing of let me save all the money and keep it for the future. It was never that. We want to watch movies, we go. We want to travel, we keep going. We want to go by car, go. We want to go by flight, go. Everywhere, think about it, immediately done. He used to take us. That really helped a lot, in nurturing that kind of a mentality. Like you are living for the day. I don't know, I'm Vandana today. Am I going to see tomorrow morning? I don't have a guarantee, right? So when you're always living for today, it gives you a lot of energy. Yes, but I realized creating stories. When I suddenly, one fine day I become very dull. Then I realized 3 दिन हो गया मैं लिखा ही नहीं. I have not created. That makes me lose energy. And then one thing which really helps energy is the Amazon dashboard, which I see, where you've seen the number of people who have read your books, the number of pages read rather, and number of copies sold. Copies sold is pages read is way more.
Yeah.
You see about 20,000, 25,000. I have even touched 36 or 37 pages in a day. So that's
amazing.
A lot of books people are reading. That also gives a lot of enthusiasm. And ultimately, it is like nobody is going to come and motivate me. It's self-motivation.
Yeah. The inner drive.
Yeah, I want to be something. I want to achieve something. I want to do this. So I have this thing, I have this prayer book, I call it. And this is my personal conversation with God. I don't do too much formal prayer. I don't believe in it. I won't say that's not true. I'm not into formal prayers. Light a lamp and those. Yes, lamp is lit. I feel very happy. That is all there. But I pray. I chat with my God. And whatever I've asked, whatever I have dreamt, whatever I have visualized, I do it. I try to do it every day. Nowadays, it's come to once in 48 hours. I pray at least for an hour and a half, intensely visualizing, and I realize whatever I visualize, everything is coming true. For years, I've been visualizing, never give up. For years, I've been visualizing I should be there on media, and I should be able to be in such groups, like, talk to people, tell them about my journey, and, kind of inspire people. And also, I want more readers. That is, that's very important, right? That's why I need to meet more people. All this, it started materializing. Keep visualizing and praying, it works. Now don't ask me where I find the time for it. I find the time. If I'm not able to, I forgive myself, and I don't do it that day, I do it the next day.
Yeah. I think, that's a better way of doing it, forgive yourself and then continue again. Yeah. I must go on to the questions, because I would love to keep chatting with you. And right now I was also thinking I must invite you again, but whenever you give me time, I must ask questions that I have got from group members. Aarti wanted to know that how do you keep yourself motivated to write and market your book as well? And I think you have already given us a lot of inspiration, a lot of things that how you keep yourself motivated. Then Nirmala ji, she wanted to know, how many times do you revise your drafts?
Not much. You know what? I'll just tell you the writing pattern I follow. Yeah. I just write today, probably a complete chapter, or probably a little less than a chapter. Next day, before I start writing, I run through that again. I see where it goes. And then, I make the corrections a little bit, whatever, so that, the load of proofing doesn't stay. And then I start the next chapter. And suddenly, sometime when I'm going on a walk, I feel, okay, maybe I could have added this point. What I do, I don't mess up with that chapter. I remove a third document, and there I write a fresh chapter. And then, I see where it can get fitted. And then on the third day, I kind of iron the whole thing out so that the flow is fine. Tabhi ka tabhi, as I told you, I don't postpone it for tomorrow. I finish that before taking the story ahead. Like for the Rebel Princess, I got my prologue after I finished the 23rd chapter, it suddenly struck me this will make a wonderful prologue, this particular scene. At that point, I wrote my prologue. And then checking every day. And what I do, I write for about 10, 12 days. I finish some 10, 12 chapters. I go back, I go back and read the whole thing. I'll see whether it is running, flowing smoothly. But I'm such a conjuice, I don't trash words easily. What I do, in case I feel either fit nahi ho raha hai, so I remove it and I put it extra karke one document mein, if I want to fit it. So I wasted very few words. So the mistakes and all, you're correct. Those are wasted, don't count.
Yeah.
But chop off, na? I don't like throwing it. I try to kind of fit it because it came in my mind. It was part of my imagination. So the movie flow is like that. So why remove it? That kind of attitude.
Yeah. Do you edit
It answered your
finally?
question.
Do you finally edit yourself or send it to somebody else?
I have a beta reader. And for my historical romance, I have two beta readers, like one from the south, my sister. She kind of knows history really well. I have two sisters. One sister has done BA history. So both of them kind of run through the story with me. And I have a regular beta reader who's also an author. So they run through it. Beta reading is when they tell you if the story is not working. Yeah. And editor probably tell you, chuck this character out or bring this character in, or you don't set it in this place. You probably have to set it in somewhere else. I don't like such suggestions. So my story is my story. I'm not going to change it. But a beta reader tells you what is not working, what mistakes I have done in the story, or what, like, some character is what she or he is. There is no validation for it. That kind of a thing. Or I write about 11th century Chola and I bring a green chili into it, the story. Like my sister told me, green chili doesn't work. Green chili was not available in those days in the Chola kingdom. So, that woke me up to check, every little material I'm putting, I go back. I really love Google search and internet. Without that, I won't be able to write because the background research, like, it's to near perfection because of that. You get a lot of information. And so I use the beta readers. Final proofing, I do it. Even I have 4 books published by traditional publishers. Final proofing, I take the responsibility. I don't allow. In the sense, जितना भी वो proof करे ना, last proofing मैं करती हूँ.
Yeah. Okay. Nirmala ji has given a lot of questions actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nirmala ji.
When do you know that you don't have to revise anymore? I think this is many authors would like to know. That when do you?
It is like, you take a drawing and you're painting it. The tendency is, इसमें कुछ तो कम है करके you go on smudging it. Let go. Beyond the point, you can only commit mistakes. You can see the first thought which came to you is the grandest thought. So the first image of the story which came to you is the grandest. Don't keep changing it. Don't keep changing. You may do addition. I wouldn't go into deletion because I told you I don't waste words. I don't want to waste words. Maybe then at that point you need to ask an expert and find out whether you need to. But when you read it, what feeling does it give you? Do you feel happy? Oh, this is born of me. And so, like when you watch your baby, how do you feel? It's born of me. It's my flesh and blood. It's my effort. I find great joy in this. That's it. Your baby is born. Don't do this. Scratching, rubber, no. Eraser, no. Just leave it alone. Check your language, check your spelling and everything. That's important. आप बार-बार करते रहेगा तो ना you'll land up a mess. Believe me.
Yeah, true.
So I am not into playing too much with your script. No.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This question is not in the list, but she otherwise asked me on WhatsApp. She was trying to buy your book and she wanted a physical copy. So can you, tell our audience and readers and especially Nirmala ji how she can buy it a physical copy? Because she was getting only
e-book. Sundari Venkatraman books on Amazon. All my paperbacks, jitna hai, 4 hai, and all my e-books are available there. You can buy anything you want.
So you have just right now 4 titles as a hard copy. Rest all
Yeah.
are ebook. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Can you name them so that you know the 4 books that are available as
See,
hard
as I
copy?
showed you, this is Malhotra Bride. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have the Runaway Bridegroom. I can show you the books. I have them here. This is Runaway Bridegroom. These 3 are part of the series, which I'm showing you.
Yeah.
It is made in India. This is The Smitten Husband.
Yeah.
And this is called His Drunken
His
Wife.
Drunken Wife. Yeah.
These are the physical books.
Okay. Yeah. Next she is asking is the Indian way of English okay, or do you strive for Queen's English?
I didn't hear you. Sorry. I couldn't understand.
Is the Indian way of English okay, or do you strive for Queen's English?
Queen's English. Because I got educated in UK English. So I follow that. But of course, I use a lot of Indian words. Like I use, but like if it's set in Bangalore, I try to bring a word or two of Kannada. If it is set in Tamil Nadu, I bring a few words of Tamil. If it is in the north, a bit of Hindi. I try my best. But see, dialogue, mein everything is allowed, right? People can talk how they want. So then you can have Indianized, "Arey yaar, what you're thinking." You can say that in within quotes. Narration is UK English. I follow.
Right. Actually, we know, but she's still asking, did you get rejected by the mainstream publishers? Initially, you did try and it was not accepted.
Only 28 rejections.
Only?
Only. See, these are the ones I received. I applied to way more people. Some of them didn't even get back to me.
Yeah.
What I cried a lot. As I told you, put my passion in everything. Even in the crying, I put a lot of passion and cried.
Yeah, and important is that you didn't give up at that moment. You know, you didn't stop.
I would say my stories didn't give up. You know what happened? After the rejections came in, I was at that point when I was trying, I was at home. When I started writing, it was 5-year gap. You know, I was working in the school. I got inspired. I mean, I left the job, and one fine day, out of sheer frustration, within barely a month or two, I started writing. Till 6 months, I didn't think of getting published. 6 months, I had finished 3 novels. After that, I gathered a lot of information and started applying to publishers around the world and all that. The next 2.5 to 3 years, it was spent only waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, getting rejection after rejection. Also, then I thought, just forget it. My son also finished his 10th. I thought now the kids are really independent. I applied to a newspaper, Mumbai Mirror, and I applied in the Times of India office. I never expected within 3 days I got a call for an interview, and I joined them 2 days later. Within a span of a week, I got a job. And I was working there, and then I was working with the Network 18, the web arm and all that. And so at that point, but what happened is, I was the third job I was in, it was for a website. I had to curate content, put content together. I was not creating the content also. I was totally frustrated. And I started blogging my stories, I told you. At that point, I felt I had to tell the story. That is this Runaway Bridegroom, which I was telling you. That story, like the character started kind of bombarding me in my head. And I started writing them 1 chapter a week on my blog. Like I had a full-time job. I was managing the house, the kitchen and everything. But I used to sit on Thursday night, till 12 a.m. Friday. I wanted 1 chapter out. I used to write 1,000 to 1,200 words. Because the stories refused to leave me. And blogging karne ke baad, I thought I can write. I didn't write too much, but I used to write little by little, because that enthusiasm was not there. After getting published on Amazon, and I saw like there were readers, people were paying to read me. That you can't beat that feeling. You feel, and it was not like all my relatives have already read my book. So it is not that, they were the ones who are buying the book. That none of them buy, the relatives don't. And I don't even ask them for the simple reason. That's no fun, no?
Yeah.
people who really are passionate about reading to buy your books, who are strangers. Like
Yeah.
my sister-in-law, the moment the paperback comes, I send it to them.
Yeah.
The ebooks they read on Kindle Unlimited, all of them, my sisters. So I'm sorry, I think I've lost the thread of the answer of what you were asking me. Why I never gave up.
Yeah.
I, those stories refused to leave me. And then once this started, see, 2014, I published 4 books. One was an anthology of 13 short stories. 2015 was a long thing because I had signed up with a traditional publisher and I had one more book, The Madras Affair, which he has pulled out from the market now. I have taken back the rights, and I had this one clause, where I was not allowed to publish 6 months before, 6 months afterwards,
Mm.
which, believe me, drove me up the wall when I actually faced that. Like I have this platform ready-made on my hand, but I couldn't
Yeah.
do anything. It kind of, clams you up. You don't even want to write. It clams you up. As I was reaching the tail end, I started planning my stories and started writing again. That is when I went on the rampage, 13 months later. I was like literally like a dam burst. When you break the dam wall, what happens? It just breaks through, right? That's what happened to me at that point. And I published 13 books, and then I took a breather, then I slowed down.
Great, great. Okay, so yeah, I think we are short on time. I will quickly ask what she says is, yeah, she says that, when publishers, mainstream publishers reject, then that hurts. When you
I
knew
cried
you
a
were
lot.
good and still you get rejected. Yeah. Okay. Next she's asking is, can you help other writers to publish their book on Kindle?
See, what I have done is, I have made a book on Kindle, publishing your book on Amazon KDP. That is the book which is called Publishing Your Book on Amazon KDP. It's just $100. It'll tell you all the pitfalls of different kinds of publishing, all the advantages and the pitfalls. And what happens when you publish, like just publishing your book is not enough, right? After that,
Yeah.
you have to do the promotions and everything, because what happens when you publish with a traditional publisher, they also help promote you to some extent. At the end of the day, you are on your own, believe me. They, to some extent, they will, because they have a budget for it and they will help you this far. After that, you have to keep doing the work, because it's your baby at the end of the day. So publishing your book, I have this book where it tells you all details of what all pitfalls you can face and what you should avoid. Like you should never pay to get published. When you pay money out of your pocket, believe me, you have kissed a lot of money goodbye, and that's not going to make you an author. You will have a few copies of your books to say, yes, I'm published. Doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. So I have been through all that. So all my experience I have put there, and how step by step, when you open the Amazon screen, how you sign in, how you create your account, and where you upload your cover, and where you upload your manuscript, and what format you do, what is the size of your cover, everything. How you, like, this writer, she asked me, I'm opening this account on Amazon. They are asking me for my bank account. Why should I give?
Yeah.
Amazon is there to steal your money. When you make an income there, they have to deposit the money somewhere, right? That is
Right.
your bank details, right? So all those details, it's there in the book. It's called, like, that's the only non-fiction I have written.
What can you repeat the name, please?
Publishing Your Book on Amazon KDP. And before the next question comes, like once I'm published, I have
Yeah.
how do I promote myself? We are a group of authors. We call the book club, like how you are a group of authors, like we are a group of authors. We've come together, we have come out with different titles, like how to write a good blurb.
Hmm.
It has to be catchy. Why cover is very important. Why do you want to self-publish it at all? Somebody has written that book. And how to market on social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
Promote your book. What all you do, what are the kind of keywords you can use, and those kind of things. All these books are coming under, like, when you click on this book of mine, you have taken the title, right? That will be say as published by Sundari Venkatraman and the book club. When you click on that book club, the series of books will come across. Whatever works for you feel the need for, that will help you for marketing and everything. So what we have done, instead of I get this query, at least 2-3 queries in a day, I can answer people personally.
Yeah.
So book helps. Like, when I started out, I asked a published author, like, how do I go about it? She gave me a blog link. She said, manage from here. I never troubled her after that. Everything was clear. As simple as that.
Yeah. And on 17th, you are coming on KDP platform.
That's right. I'm
going
coming
to
on
share.
Amazon platform representing KDP. It's whole of Amazon India.
Oh, wow. So I'm going to share that link within this, video chat only, so that whosoever wants to join can listen to you. And I'm sure there will be valuable information, how you can promote the book, how you can publish, how can use Amazon actually overall, to be a successful author. Yeah. I can see the time you promised me for 1 hour, and I don't want to stretch for that. I'm extremely thankful for your time.
If you have a couple of questions, I don't mind. Another 5 minutes.
I can just quickly check, on.
Or if we are done, then no issues.
I'm just checking that. Yes, we have. We have. Did you try foreign agents?
What? Foreign?
Foreign agents, literary agents. Did you try them?
No. See, when I started out, there weren't many agents around. And believe me, romance is a genre. Readers love it. But the publishers and the agents, they're coming up now when I don't need anybody. There was a time when there were no takers. And you know what? When I checked for agents, because I've read about agents in some foreign fiction, when I looked for agents, there was not too much information. I'm talking in the year 2000. There was the same. Literary agents are there. See, if the literary agents take your book and they evaluate it and they give it to a publisher, that's one way of doing it. If they ask you for money in advance, it's your call. I wouldn't give. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
There is a school of thought, once you self-publish, a publisher might not pick you. I have disproved that also. But I'm not saying that everybody is going to get such a chance. They pick up the bestseller and they have taken me. Like Westland has taken me with the 3 books and Fingerprint has taken me. But again, what I have in my personal life, I'm not saying like everybody should do this. What money I make on self-publishing, now that I'm established and I have an audience, I can never make through a traditional publishing. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me, and it also gives me a great freedom to write at my pace.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's. We have question from Neetu. She says, "How did you get over the question? How did you get over the question? Who will want to read me?" Or did you ever have this question that who will?
Of course I had. This is like, see, I'm a commerce graduate, so I'm more logic than creative. So the mind and my father was an accountant. So what happens, that accounting mentality is there, right? So what I calculated, now let me look at it. The world has a 5 or 6 billion population at that point. Today it's crossing 7. About 6 billion up on an average, 6 billion population. Out of this, let's presume at least 20% read in English. 20% read in English. So even 5,000 is there, that's 1 billion people. Out of 1 billion people, can't I find 1 million to read my books?
Yeah.
This is exactly what I told myself. I find at least 1 million. 1 million is a lot of readers. They say, these authors' books, 5 million are out in print. That doesn't mean that she has 5 million people reading her. It means she has 25, 30 titles. And that is 5 million, which is actually less than 1 million per book. 1 million, if you get, you're a fantastic author. This is exactly what I visualized, dreamt, convinced myself. As I read your book. It makes you happy. It'll make the world happy. Definitely.
True, 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 true.
And you read it yourself and actually, kya ganda hai? It's no use. Then, yeah, it's not good enough.
Yeah, it's all about changing hair. It's just keeping straight and clear. Okay. Soumya says you are truly an inspiration. Kavita says, I'm just quickly reading the comments. Kavita says, so inspiring. Nirmala ji says, research means Google or going back and reading the history text. I don't know. She says, really interesting and so informative. Saurabhi also says, you are so
Thank you,
inspiring,
one of you.
ma'am. Lalita ji says, waiting is frustrating.
Huh?
And waiting is frustrating. I think.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it. I waited for 14 years. And every time we wait for the reply from the thing, oh, I used to check my email box, I used to check my post box, and I used to wonder, any chance, have I given the phone number? Will they contact me somewhere? Oh God, it was the most frustrating part. I know, but I realized, the greatest frustration gives birth to the best success. That's what I have realized from my life journey.
Yeah. Saurabhi has a question. My language is not fancy. Will simple English work?
Read my books, you will know I write very simple English. Because see, how I look at it now, language is not about showing off my knowledge. Language is means of communication. If what I'm writing, the reader does not understand, perhaps open a dictionary. Luckily, Kindle, you just have to select the word and go look meaning, you will find it. But those kind of interruptions in the flow of the story makes a person frustrated. They get bored. They get they might give up reading on the book.
Yeah.
So, and when I was a kid, there were people who told me, like, you have to refer to the dictionary, understand the dictionary meaning of the words. But how my grandpa taught me the language was get the feel of the language. Go with the sentence, try to understand the meaning. You have read the same word 3-4 times, you will catch the meaning. If you still don't catch the meaning, then refer to the dictionary. Or once you've caught the meaning, refer to the dictionary and understand, yes, I have understood. That gives you confidence in the language. Simple language counts the best. Don't make it nursery level, but a language where everybody is able to connect to what you have said.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they don't understand you, your writing is a waste.
Yeah.
Correct language is very important. Please, let's be very clear about that also. Correct language. If you make mistakes, and that is something, because it's a writers group, let me specify on this, really underline on this. Be very careful what you put out there. If it's going to be a badly proved book, people will never come back to you.
I agree to that.
This is very, very important. Whichever language you write in, stay true to that language. It has to be correct. Simple is fine, but it has to be correct. And not this kind of thing, baby talk or, malformed sentences, especially in the narration. As I told you, you can take a lot of leeway in your quotation, in your conversations, but never do it in your narration. Your narration has to be perfect. It's very important. If you can't get it, do it, get an expert for it.
Right. Then Nirmala ji again, she says, last question, how do you choose adjectives, adverbs for characters while setting your story?
You feel your story, you don't have to really see the movie forms and you're conversing in English in your house, and when you have the tendency to use adjectives or adverbs believe me, I understand what adjectives is. I don't know what adverbs is. I don't know the parts of speech. You give me a grammar test, I'm going to fail unless it's going to be applied grammar. Okay, I'm going to fail. Let me be very clear. Graduate. But the feel of the language, as I told you, I've always felt it. That's why, when I want to look for the meaning in Hindi or Tamil or English or Kannada or something, I'm able to connect the think very easily because it's a feel which counts. And so what I do when I'm describing a character, how do I see the character? Somebody who's looking beautiful or ugly or whatever. What I see, I write it. So those form the words. It just comes like that. Like I don't think too much. One thing I do when I repeat the same word in the same paragraph or something, when I'm proofing, I go back to I check the online thesaurus to find alternate words which work best. That I do, yes, when I'm repetitive. Otherwise, just go with the flow.
Right.
I'm not trained writer.
Yeah. So Lalita ji says thank you for your reply on, waiting is frustrating.
You're welcome.
And Kaveri is asking from where I can get a signed copy of your book.
Difficult.
Difficult.
Yeah, if you're in Mumbai, you can meet me. I'll sign the copy which you have bought. All my ebooks I'm converting to signed copies, by the way. I put an online signature on it. So,
okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Yes. So I think we are done.
Yeah,
I don't see more questions, and I'm very thankful for your time and the lovely energy that you brought in, the ease that you gave to all of us of just writing and stay inspired by you. Thank you. I will definitely get in touch with you for another round of interview because we need such conversations. We need such inspirations.
Thank you so much, Vandana. It was lovely being here, and thanks for all the wonderful questions. And for the audience also, I'm sorry I've not got everybody's name. Please, thank you so much for being here and asking me such wonderful questions and giving me a platform to talk about myself. Thank you.
We are honored, actually. We are really honored to have you here. So, thank you.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye, everybody. You too, Sundari ji. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.